Hello, I'm just trying to find myself on the North Carolina group. I hope I'm on the right group. Oh, it says my computer is being non-responsive. Isn't that nice? Now, it's thinking. We're pretty windy here today, so I'm not sure if something like that could be going on or not, but hopefully things will come up pretty soon. I'm Joanne Hewins. I do have a blog, Love to Create. Typepad.com is where you can find me. And so far I don't, yes, it did just come up on my computer. So I think, let me click on that and see if I can make it larger. Good, I've got some people and looks like everything's going great. We are going to be making a card that I don't think you're going to want to make with your classes. Hi, Twyla. Good to see you. I used to have a customer that once in a while would say, now this is labor intensive. And this card looks a bit labor intensive. But I just wanted to talk about building a scene and that kind of thing. And I wanted to use the driving by set from Celebration. And I had seen some with the van at the beach with the palm trees and different things, but I hadn't seen it kind of like this before. So I thought that we would work on that. Thank you. Good to see you, Martinette. I loved your card. I'm getting that set next week, I hope. Let me start by looking at the driving by. And I saw this on another, good morning, Lori. I saw this on another video at some time about cutting the pieces or doing a little bit of surgery to your set. So that's what I have done. I took the car and I cut the balloons away, and I took this car, the VW Bug, and cut the presents off, and I also cut the word hi off of that. So there's my saying, and here's the balloons and the presents, and I just thought that made it more useful for the set. I also have another set of these. I'm one of these that order quite a bit, so I had another set that I could use together. And I haven't tried stamping those. Let me just try real quick. I haven't tried stamping those with the pieces. Let me put these presents on top of this bug and see if I can get it. Okay, we'll just ink that up and see how it does. And see if you can really tell it. Okay, there's a tad space. I don't know, there may be a tad space anyway on there. So that works pretty well with it that way. But I'm going to use the balloons by themselves. So I'm going to put them back over here on this other block. And we'll get started. I'm thinking that I just got this Island Vibes, and I'm thinking that I'm going to do a little bit of surgery right there as well to cut those two apart. I think that would help me use it a little bit more. So don't be afraid to do that kind of thing. It's kind of easier, I think, to do with the photopolymer, but anyway, we'll go ahead with this. I'm a little out of practice with doing my lives. Been slowing down just a little bit. So just be patient with me and we'll do the best we can. So I'm going to start with I've got a lot of my pieces already cut because I'm a little bit afraid we may not have time to do that. I actually cut those with my snips. So that's what I did. Those are the sharpest that I have. They used to have, that one needs to be cleaned. They used to have some, way back, the red rubber, you had to cut them apart when you got them way back. And they had scissors for that, but I never did get those. So anyway, this is 4 1/4 by 11. And then I cut 3/4 of an inch. Hey, Patricia. I cut 3/4 of an inch off of the front because I wanted my road on there. So for the road, we'll just go ahead, I think, and add that if I can find it. There it is for the road. I used paper from In Good Taste. That's one of our annual catalog papers. And to make the line, I've already done that. Now, I wanted to also say that I use my grid paper a lot to help me keep things straight. So I used a straight edge and put that, and I used the chalk marker for that. So that's in the annual catalog. Good morning, everybody. I appreciate you joining in. So I'm just going to take this piece and glue it. I've gotten to be one of those people that use glue a lot. So I'm going to glue that. I'm really nervous to the bottom of this. And sometimes I do tend to cut my paper a little bit larger than I need because I don't like having the white shining out. So I am going to go back and just trim that tiny bit of edge right there on the side. So now I have my road. And we're going to start with the background. So I used the Beauty of the Earth paper for a lot of this, and that's in the annual catalog here on 130. And it had a lot of pieces that would lend to a background back there. So I'm using this blue that is cut at 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. So after I made this card, now I guess you probably do the same. You look at what you did and you look at it and you think, now what could I change? What should I have done? And I looked at that and I really had in mind that this would be a card that would show from North Carolina, our Blue Ridge Parkway. So I think it does, except there are no mountains in this card. So I've decided to try to add some mountains to this, and I'll be using from the catalog the Mountain Air stamp set. Now, these mountains do not look like our mountains. Our mountains are old mountains. The Appalachian Mountains are old mountains that have been worn down over the years. But I'm hoping that the trees will kind of hide that a little bit. And notice I did say Appalachian. If you're from North Carolina, I'm going to be putting this on my blog. If you're from North Carolina, you know to pronounce that Appalachian instead of Appalachian. Down south, that's what it is. So I'm going to take my crumb cake and I'm just going to ink that up. Now with large stamps, you want to lay the stamp down and ink it from the top. And I'm just going to start down here at the bottom and I'm going to just kind of do some, well that didn't show up very much, so we may stamp over that because a lot of this is going to be covered anyway where you can't see it. So I'm just going to build some mountains back there. Maybe we'll do one more row of mountains and maybe those will show through our trees. And since mountains aren't really blue, I'm going to bring in a blending brush and kind of make that brown or a little bit browner. Now, I like to make cards that use lots of products. And so this one is using lots of products. It's going to be a while before we actually get to the driving by. So there we go. I think that's enough. So we'll see if that's an improvement to our card or not. You know, sometimes things are not an improvement. So I'm going to take this and glue it to the front of the card. I like the glue because it gives you a little bit of moving room to get that straight. Try to keep it where the white isn't showing so much from the back. And that didn't go all the way down. I knew that it wouldn't, but we're going to put some grass in there. You know, on the parkway, you've got a little bit of grass sometimes before it gets over to the forest. And one of the other things that we used is the Majestic Mountain dies, and we're using these two trees for that. And I've already cut those out. I cut them from this green piece from Beauty of the Earth. And let me pull that out. Here they are. Like I said, I've cut a bunch of stuff in advance. I've got 4 trees. Don't know if we'll use all 4. But what I wanted to show you is that on the back of my paper, I put the adhesive sheets. And so hopefully it will help us get our little tiny pieces glued down a little bit faster. Now I kind of have a love-hate with the adhesive sheets because sometimes I get it all over the place. But we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to start with one of the trees, and I'm just going to pull off the backing so it makes it into a sticker. And sometimes this will pull off these little pieces. There's a lot of little pieces still in that one. And we'll see just how that does. So I'm going to pull that off and get rid of my trash. One of the good things about this is that it is in sections, and that's also one of the bad things about this because it's sticky down there and you get stick everywhere. So there we go with a little bit more, and that's all of it. So it did pull out most of those, and I think I'm just not going to worry about it. You know, sometimes it's okay, isn't it, to have a little bit of the stuff left. So I'm going to go ahead and put this tree, well, let me get that white looking place out from back there. And I'm just going to put this tree right in here, and that will just stick down, hopefully. Evidently, there's sticky that hasn't come off there. Oops, that tree got blown in the wind. Help. Okay, and I'm just going to cut off. You just have to do a little bit of playing around sometimes. And that's not really sticking all that great, but we'll hope that it does. Well, don't do what I just did. And I am going to take, that tree doesn't have to be perfect. I am going to take a little bit of one and put it down in there. So I'm just going to trim the top of that. The first card that I did not have that. But I thought we might need another tree. Well, as long as I'm a fiddle finger, we may not finish. Okay. So we'll put this one over here. And some of that is off the side. I'm going to trim that in a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to work with our other trees. And these we used, let me pull in my other dies. We used, well, the Inspiring Canopy dies. And this is the one that we used. I've already run that through. I've already put the adhesive sheet. I just picked out or cut a piece of paper that would just about fit the die, and I didn't care if I had that bottom part on there or not. I'm getting to the grass, Patricia. And anyway, we're going to go ahead and add these. So let me pull out this part. And I'm going to cover up the tree trunks, the bottom of the tree trunks with the grass. So we'll get to it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and try to pull this. Now I did put this down on this sponge and use this. These are old. To get some of that extra out of that ahead of time. And I did run these through my cut and emboss machine twice. I'm not sure if I needed to do them twice or not. I just wanted to make sure. Because the cut and emboss machine really does a great job on all of that. Okay. So that pulled out most of that. Good. So we're going to put our trees. Well, we're going to lay our trees down just a second because I did forget to add the clouds. So the clouds, and right there they are, the clouds are also from the Majestic Mountain. Although we have a lot of things nowadays that have clouds on them. So I'm going to glue down my clouds up here. And I'm having a hard time looking at doing this and looking at comments. So, well, I'll look at that later, I promise, and go back and answer anything. Now, we're going to go ahead and put these trees up here. All right, and now my grass is going to cover this weird section here. So I'm going to go ahead and trim, oops, I'm going to go ahead and trim here. I find it easier to trim from, we'll see what that is in a minute, from the back. I was thinking the other day, those little tree branches would make nice little antlers on something. So I have a piece of the green. I hope. I'm looking here on what I've cut, and I don't see my little green piece. Alrighty, so what we will do with this is run in the other room and get my cutter. Sorry about that. I meant to bring all of that in here just in case I couldn't find something. And you know it's going to show up in a minute. So I'm going to cut, I think, about 1.5 inches. And that's too wide, but that's okay. We'll trim it down. And I'm just going to take my scissors, get some of my sticky stuff off of there. And I'm just going to kind of, you know, just cut a little bit of whatever there. And then this is going to go, I believe that's too much. Let's do it about, let's cut off, about 3/8 of an inch on that. And I am going to have this on my blog with the North Carolina blog hop on Sunday night. So, pull it off there. So, all my measurements will be on there, and all the directions will be on there on how to do that. So this is going to go down even, and then I'll just trim that extra off. I got a little glue happy there. So there we are. And then we're going to add a couple more trees. I don't know if you all are like me. I spend half of my card making time looking for where I've laid something. So here's a tree. We will take this off of that. Okay. And you can see some of those small pieces did come off as I pulled that away. And I'm not going to take time again trying to get all those little pieces out of there. So we'll put that tree there. And let's see if I can find the other one. There it is. And there we go with that one. It does make it easier that a lot of those little tiny pieces come right off. And then we're going to put a tree here. Now let's look and see. I don't know if you can tell so much that the mountains are back there or not. What are you all thinking? Better with or better without the mountains? Okay, there we go. And now we're ready to start on our van. Now somewhere here I have a circle cut for our sun, and that is not showing up right now, but I'm not going to add it if I can't find it because I don't have my machine in here. I have gone ahead and done some of the stamping. This is the Sunshine and Rainbow paper. That is another free celebration item. And so I have stamped the van or bus or whatever on white paper. And I've also stamped it on the designer paper. Okay? So this is called paper piecing. Let me look and see if I've got some. Nope. Thought maybe I had some pieces left in the envelope I had all that in, but I don't see my sun. Okay. I did use the circle that was in the Canopy dies. Right there, okay? So that's what I use. And at first, I put saffron sun, and then I decided, well, you know what, you just need to have a little bit more excitement up there. So I changed it and glued another one on top. So let's get started with the van so I don't run out of time. Getting close. I colored the van with the dark smoky slate around the windows and the other areas there. And then I used the light smoky slate to color in the windows. And so we're going to do our paper piecing. This is a little bit, as I said, labor intensive. And it's not a new technique. I'm sure you all have done this, but in case you haven't, you're going to cut just outside the black line on that. But it's going to look good no matter what because you have the line here on the van, so it's going to show anyway. So we're just going to cut that little top part and add that right in there. I want to be light on my glue. Now I thought this kind of van would be perfect for the parkway. You know, a lot of us tree huggers go up there, and we like this kind of van. So this paper was perfect for that. So I'm just going to cut all of the parts that I didn't color on here. We'll go around the bill covers. Ah, yeah, Alaska. Now that's the kind of mountains Alaska has. Beautiful up there. But of course we have mountains all over the country. So this might prove useful to someone. Okay, we'll just glue this piece in. Well, upside down won't work. And you can see how easy it is to piece the van and make it look like it's been colored. And I like the glue again. The glue gives you a little bit of moving room on some of that. And I just realized that I needed to color in around this wheel right here. And then hopefully we can get these wheel covers. Let me look at my time. My time's about over. I'm going to go ahead and cut the bus out. And we'll add those wheel covers if we have time. I don't want to mess up the next person. I cut out a little bit more than I meant to across the top of that. Oh, leave the mountains, or you like them? I don't know if they show enough, but I guess they do. Otherwise, you could just be going down I-40 on here, couldn't you? Or any other place. So I'm going to add the van. I can do those wheel covers a little bit later if we have time. But I'm going to add the van with the tires hanging over a little bit. So I'm going to watch where I put my dimensional and leave some space there. So, well, let me just do this. Okay, and then we'll hang those tires down a little. I was trying to decide, was my van on the wrong side of the road? I'm not sure. I went ahead and stamped my packages. I used a different piece of designer paper. I thought the yellow might show up a little bit better. So I just actually didn't put those on the white because there's really no need. I just stamped them and cut them out, and we'll just add those on top of the van. And then I went ahead and pieced in the balloons. You don't really need to see me cutting all of that out. And I did cut these out separately, though. So I just kind of cut around the string and then around the balloon. And I don't think it matters how much white shows. Then I just put a little piece of dimensional. In fact, I think I'm going to take one of these halves. This is a mini dimensional, but I think if I cut a piece of that, it will fit on the back of there. And I didn't even worry about the balloon there. I just kind of put this stuck up under there and just added each balloon like that. Okay, thanks, Martinette. Let me go ahead and show you what I did on the inside, and then we'll go back and finish the front if we have. Yeah, we've got a couple minutes. So on the inside, I used this tree. This is from another set of dies, the Beautiful Trees dies. And I cut this out of the In Good Taste paper. These trees on the front were also cut from In Good Taste. On this one, the trees were cut from the Beauty of the Earth paper. So you can kind of see the difference in those. But on the inside, I added a tree. And the Happy Birthday comes from another of the celebration sets, the Special Moments. The Happy Birthday came from that. So I will not worry about the inside of this one until later, and I will just cut on these a few minutes. And we'll get one of these done anyway. So as I said, this would be probably not something that you want to do in a class, but fun for me. So I'm just going to add that on there. And we'll add this. Just a little dot of glue there. And I do like that yellow better, the yellow packages and the yellow balloons. I'll add those other balloons a little bit later. So, there you go. Thank you for listening. Just a little bit something different, and use of a lot of things from the annual catalog, and which I think sometimes we forget about the annual catalog, especially when new mini catalogs come out, and just a little bit of fun. So I'm going to go ahead and stop now, and thank you so very much. Oh, thanks for the hearts. I appreciate that. Thanks so much. And enjoy the rest of the day.